Okay, welcome to today's community meeting. Really excited for a couple of really cool demos today. First, we're going to be getting some updates about our Crew AI integration with Jet, who's our CNCF mentee. And then we're going to be getting a demo slash discussion about subagents and workflows with Dimitro. So really excited about both. So
Hey,
I
Ada,
think,
can I say
yes.
something before
Oh,
we
no, of course. Yeah.
do the demo? Hey, folks, KubeCon Europe call for paper is due this Sunday. We would love to have you all submit anything related to K-Agent. It could be how even like the Crew AI integration, the sub-project workflow for K-Agent. I think that sounds pretty cool topic. Or anything related to K-Agent integrate with other projects could potentially be interesting. So if you need a extra pile of I review your submission, feel free to pin me. I will be available to help to give some inputs if you need. The other thing I want to mention is we're planning a K-Agent community party at KubeCon in Atlanta. So if you're going to join us in Atlanta, I'm going to put the information on the Discord so you can have it. So I believe it's at Wednesday during KubeCon in Atlanta. I know some of you are joining, so do let us know if you plan to join. I would love to meet some of you in person too. All right, Ada, so that's my sales pitch.
Perfect. Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, no, I totally forgot. That's a good call out. Cool. All right. Jet, do you want to take the microphone / screen?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Jed. I'm the CNCF mentee. I'm gonna share my screen and show you how the Crew AI integration works. Share entire screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, nice. So I will first go over how, can I just quickly do a survey? Like, how many of you here have used Crew AI for like any prototyping or whatever? Maybe a thumbs up or whatever. Okay, I'll go over how the framework works then. I'll briefly go over how the framework works. It's pretty simple. This is like one of the most it's much simpler than LangGraph. Like you don't have to it's easy to read for humans, and it's also pretty easy to coordinate a lot of agents. And there is a lot less code to write compared to LangGraph. So in Crew AI, there's a concept called crew. A crew is basically a group of agents. So here we define a research crew. I'm gonna go over like the Crew AI code first, and then see how we can put that into Kagent. So this is like the raw Crew AI code. So if you're a Crew AI developer, you should be writing these code for your own app before you bring it into like Kagent. So you first define a crew. A crew is a group of agents that completes a bunch of tasks, and these agents in the crew are basically like different sub agents in ADK. So you can orchestrate them in different ways. You can have a manager agent. You can have like a procedural workflow. You can do whatever you want. And there's a lot of stuff on the Crew AI docs, but here just a very simple example. We define like two different agents, and we can give the agent some tool so the agent can search the web, and we can create some tasks for the agents. And in Crew AI, they prefer creating these tasks and writing all the prompts in a YAML file, which are here. So these agents are gonna do some research. The first agents are gonna browse the web. The second agent is gonna write a report right up. So pretty simple example. And these are how the agents are defined. And here we're gonna use Gemini for one of the agents and OpenAI for the other agents, just because I was debugging the tracings. But you can use the same provider, different provider, whatever is all supported. And yeah, so the only thing you have to do if you're a Crew AI developer and you have written like all these complex agent orchestration, which should be more complicated than this, but this is what anything you can do whatever you want with this crew. The only thing you have to do to bring this into Kagent is to basically add this line which creates the Kagent app and with the crew that you have defined. So with the group of agents or workflow that you have defined, put it into the Kagent app, and we create like everything from A2A servers, tracing, memory persistence, everything is managed. Of course, you have to write like an agent card, but that's pretty simple. And so this is like the only line that you have to do, and you can just start the app. And the Docker file, everything is pretty similar to how the line graph one works. There is another mode in Crew AI actually. I will quickly show you called Crew AI Flow. So this one, if anyone worked with LangGraph before, this is more similar where you define like different steps which are analogous to nodes in LangGraph. So these nodes can follow each other. You can define the edges between the nodes, and in here these are called I think well, these are just functions that have starts or listen to other functions. So whenever there's a listen function, it's basically is an edge. You can think of an edge in the LangGraph graph. So you can do something with this as well in the flow mode. So if you ever play with a query, then there are these two modes, and this one is the one that just got released, just like got out of just graduated from the experimental phase a few weeks ago, and we also support this mode as well. And the usage is exactly the same. You define whatever as a query developer. You write all your code for the flow, how you want to orchestrate the agents, what are the states that an agent maintains, and all these to use it with Kagent, you simply have to like put it into the Kagent app, which is again just a 1 to 2 line change. And once you have all these, you can then build your container for the agent, and you can create the agent resource in Kagent. And now that's a brief overview of how Query works. There are more documentation in this Kagent Query package where it kind of go over a little bit more about like how you can enable memory and stuff, but I won't go over that. I'll just show you how this works in after you deploy this. So if you just follow like the regular procedure of like creating an agent.yaml and doing everything like that, setting up your environments and whatever, you can get the Query agents, which runs on this image for your agent that you've built. And once you've set it up, everything else just pretty much works the same. You can type a prompt, for example, research the latest advancements in machine learning or whatever. But you have to make sure like this prompt actually works, since in your agent definition there is a prompt that this is like some of a system prompt, right? If you remember, I've shown you there's a YAML file, so you have to make sure like they actually make sense together when they're working together with the system prompt that you define in a task and in the agent. So you're gonna then see the agent calling tools to search the internet for some sources, and it's gonna write some reports soon, which I think this is it. Yeah, so it's gonna write some big report in Markdown and send it back. And while the agent is writing, it might take a while because there are like there are several orchestration steps. So the agent first like searches the internet 2 or 3 times, and then hands the task over to the other agents to write the reports. And you can also add an agent to like check the report, right? It's pretty easy. You can just add like within 10 lines, you can like add 2 or 3 more agents. So Query is very lets you like orchestrate multiple agents very simply by because their code is pretty declarative. And yeah, so this is the final report that the agents produces here. And I will also show you how you can trace this agent after you follow like the agent tracing tutorial to like set up your tracing environment. And if you sort of service name is Query telemetry, and let me just search. Is this? Yeah, I think this is the one that I just kicked off. So you can see all the steps are happening within that kickoff that I showed here for this research. So first of all, you see like all the A2A server things are being logged here. So the events are getting in-queued, and then the Query workflow got created, and then the crew got created, and with all the tasks you specified, and all the events are getting streamed back with the A2A server. And it's also calling tools. You can also see how it's calling, interacting with the LLM. And you can also see how it's interacting with the other LLM from GPT and Gemini. So both providers are supported with tracing, and you can see all the different steps, because with Query there are a lot of steps internal to Query, right? We define like multiple different tasks and multiple different agents. If you want to see how each of them are being kicked off at what stages, this tracing is going to be very helpful, because it shows you all the tasks being created, all the agents getting kicked off, and at the end you can see like and the A2A server events as well. But there's really a lot of them that's flooding the log. But
Yeah,
yeah.
we need to get rid of the A2A events. There's an upstream issue in ADK
Oh,
to get rid of them. It's really bad. They're not
yeah.
useful at all.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, then hopefully that's gonna be better because there's like 90% of the logs are from A2A events. But yeah, I think that's mostly it. So how like QueryEye works. And if you want to know more about QueryEye, there is a repo called QueryEye examples, which is basically like a big cookbook for how to build some simple agents QueryEye. I didn't show anything here because conceptually it's identical, like all the crew, the flow, how the tasks and agents flow. But there are a lot of like specific example that might be helpful to your use case if you are ever interested. And the integration works exactly the same as I went through, and the behavior also works exactly the same with tracing or like setting up the server.
Jet, amazing work. How old are you again?
Like 18 or 19.
Amazing. All right. Well, this is the guy coming for our jobs, but killer work. Seriously, amazing job. We're so happy to have you on our side for this one.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't wait to merge this. Can't wait to get people using this, and can't wait to see what other stuff you come up with in the future. So yeah, really amazing work here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is amazing, Jet. And thank you, Aton, too. I know you've been spending a lot of time working with
Yeah.
so thank you for that.
Don't give me credit for this one.
Yeah, no,
But
Ethan
Jet
helped me a
definitely
lot with
did all the
like a lot
work.
of things.
So I have a dumb question. I think you demoed it really fast. Is it correct to say in your demo, like one of the agent was using Crew AI, and then you have one agent was using Open AI, the other agent was using Gemini? Or
Yeah. There's an agent that uses Gemini, an agent that uses like ChatGPT, but yeah, but they all use QueryEye, so there's no like other framework in here.
okay,
Jet, I think
Mhm.
it could be good. Sorry, like once if you could write like a very simple blog, like
yeah,
an explanation blog,
Yeah.
just for this, just for the simple use case, kind of
Yeah.
as our announcement, right? And it would be
Mhm.
good for you to get visibility. It would be
Yeah.
good to announce it. I think, yeah.
Yeah,
and
sure,
also
I'll
maybe
write it.
in your blog you could just show people how somebody else would want to run this, because I'm
Yes.
sure there are people in the community who wants to run this. So
Yep.
Crew
Mm.
AI, the way I think about it as an agent framework, it's not like a large language model, so you're still
Mhm,
using
yeah.
Gemini and
Yeah.
okay. But it's nice. The agent orchestration is pretty nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
really cool to
a lot of
see.
people use QueryEye for like their pretty easy to set up orchestration. So yeah, I'll write a blog to like perhaps for another use case, maybe like grab one from the QueryEye example, so it sounds more relatable to the developers. But yeah, I'll write one and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that would
Thanks
be
so much.
freaking
It sounds
awesome.
like you could do 2 other projects for your film of internship, because you accomplished this so fast.
Awesome. Cool. Any other questions for Jet before we move on to Dimitro?
Yes, I have one question for you, Jet.
Mhm.
Thank you
Mhm.
for the demo. Could you show where is it, like where is the integration with Key Agent exactly?
Wait, sorry. Could you elaborate on the question?
Yeah, I mean, so this the Crow AI creating
Uh-huh.
agents, right? So how do you integrate this with Key Agents itself?
Oh, okay. So this is just like a BYO agent, right? So it conceptually works the same as like ADK or
Okay,
LangGraph
okay,
BYO. Yeah. So if
okay,
you so like the process is basically think of this agent, this crew that you've built is like a container agent engine thing that runs on Kagent, right? And you build this, you deploy this, it works conceptually the same as how you would bring a
okay,
BYO from LangGraph or elsewhere.
okay, okay. Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Is there anything that is not yet, like, is there anything that you didn't like that we, yeah, are there any features that you didn't implement in this first pass that you're looking to implement later, or, any shortcomings, stuff like that with the
Um,
current implementation? Not in a bad way. I'm just curious,
yeah, I
is there
know.
like what's,
What this is like technically the second PR, and it pretty much patches like everything that hasn't been done in the first one. So I think everything is like it's pretty much like 99% done, except that like the Gemini trace like
What about
instrumentation
structured
SDK has
inputs?
some. Oh yeah, the user inputs. I'm probably also gonna patch it before this one get merged.
Oh, you are?
But that
Oh.
one requires like changing the front end as well.
That's what I was going to say. Let's maybe put that
Yeah,
one off. But when
yeah.
as Jet was working on this, he realized that like a nice one of the use cases for Crew is like structured inputs, right? So you have a JSON blob where you pass structured inputs to these agents. So it could be nice if from the UI, right, if a given agent has a structured input schema, then we could basically say, here's the JSON you need to give
Yeah.
us, instead of just like a text box or whatever. So it just could be a nice UX flow. We're just so passing some ideas around. Nothing
Yeah.
concrete. Cool. All right. Without further ado, let's hand it over to Dimitro.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so as probably you know, or maybe you see it first time, the EDK supports, in addition to the base agent, something which is called workflow agents. And as a part of my PR and the investigation, I try to find the way how we can bring these workflow agents as a declarative agents to extend the current CRD and be able to define them, in declarative way. It's kind of very similar to what we've seen just now with the Crew. Like we as we go to the more complex workflows, the workflow seems like it's an important building object with agents, because it's not enough to have just a one agent. You need to structure them in some way. Okay, so ADK provides a sequential, parallel, and loop agent as abstraction, and in the same time, those agents are not really like LLM agents. They just wrapper on top of existing sub-agents, which handles the tasks and either like send these tasks in parallel, then wait until they all collected, and then send them back, or execute this one by one in the sequential. Or if it's a loop, it can be like iterating several times over certain agents and then check the exit condition, or you can limit the number of iterations. Okay, so it's a very, very simple concept, which allows us to move from the simple chat interface to something a little bit more complex. And the idea is that each agent will get like its own context, its own probably like a session and everything. So in this PR, we have this implementation with a type workflow, and this workflow can be either parallel or sequential, and you can have just a list of sub agents which are existing agents, which like we have until now. Okay, so just if I switch to the UI, and if we look here, you will see here some agents are already familiar for you. Some agents have here this parallel workflow or sequential workflow. And in this demo, we will see just on this current implementation how this works. It's just pretty much the same interface as we had until now. But if I go to the sequential one, you will see here in the agent details, this is like SRE team, and you have different tools and agents which are sequential sub-agents. And I will just use a very simple request. I will ask in the session, just reply with your name and tools that you have. And here you see we still have a little bit of issues with the UI, because in the UI session, the responses all comes in the same like reply object, and it's changing, and it's now updated with the 3 different replies. But if I go back to the here to the session and I look on it, you can see I got like 3 separate replies. So in the active chat, you will see probably the last one. It's something that we still need perhaps to fix somehow. But I think the idea is clear, right? So you have 3 replies from 3 agents, which are sequentially executed. Okay, when this pattern is kind of useful, in some cases when you need to not rely only on agent how it is executing the sub agents, but you need to have a reliable, guaranteed execution. So when you are, I don't know, like building a report or something, so you first need to collect the data, then you need to build report, right, or something similar. So you would need to use the sequential workflow in order to have all these agents involved, right? And it's basically simplify the orchestration, so you don't need to rely only on LLM workflow. You have basically workflow which is forcing you to execute each step. The same thing is with Parallel. If I go to the Parallel team, here I have Istio, Helm, and Kubernetes agents. If I just ask it to the reply with the name and tools, and you will see here the reply. So again, if I click again on the history on the session, you will see here internal named. It's a Kubernetes agent with the tools. Here is a Helm agent with the tools, and another one, Istio with the tools. Yeah. Any questions so far? Okay, so the main challenges and main observation after this first implementation that I did, it's become a little bit more difficult to actually understand what's happening under the hood. It's like the same way also with the bring your own agent and so on, right? Without going to the kind of observability and trying to find something in the traces, it's a little bit more complicated, right? Also, if I look on the database side, at the moment, the relation between the root session and the child session is not there. We don't have this mechanism yet. So I think it's something that we need some maybe discussion a little bit, how you would like to see it. But for example, if I start one session here on the top and I'm asking something which is going to the workflow, I would probably expect to see some kind of like automatically a sub session or something displayed also here that I can click and see what happens. Or maybe even in the chat window, we can create a totally separate tab and represent the whole process with all the steps and calls, as a process tree. It's something that currently we don't have, but I think this is the direction where all the other workflow and tools are going. They actually provide you a more sophisticated view on the processes and everything. If you look on recent announcements from OpenAI and also Crew AI, they have own builders and so on, this AMP and the agent builder. Everyone is going to the direction of kind of workflow builders, no code and things like that. So I think having a view which is allowing us to basically see the traces and everything in the user kind of simplified view, where you can see also the context, you can see also the sessions, would help. And we need to think how we extend the existing chat in order to support it. Okay, questions or comments?
Do you see the direction we may want to go being similar for both the sequential and the parallel subagents? Like, do you see those as kind of producing a similar type of challenge?
Yeah, I think they are very similar, but I think if you imagine a more complex process where you have multiple agents, like you can have several layers of those, like you have a parallel, then you have sequential, then again. So it will actually unfold into some kind of a bigger process tree, right? Including the loops and everything. It means like there will be a pretty complex tree behind, which I think everyone is currently building some kind of a process engine, or it looks like this workflow engines are like everyone is repeating and then adding on top of it agents. There are tools like Camunda or Temporal or something, similar, where all of them are trying to put together these two things. Like one is a workflow management, traditional one, and then just make agents as a nodes. So I think this is the most simple implementation that we have, and this is a good starting point. Eventually, we may need to like create something bigger with support of multiple instances, historical view, I don't know, archiving, whatsoever.
So I want to start by saying awesome work on this and getting this going. And yeah, I think there, like you said, there's a lot of conversation to be had here about, how to further enable this. But yeah, very interesting questions. I'm trying to think of what the best path forward would be to try and get some of those questions addressed as quickly as possible. What do like? Should we talk about it in the contributors meeting? Should we have a separate meeting for those who are interested? Because there's a lot of pieces here, right? There's the UI, there's just a lot of different stuff here.
Yeah,
So.
but by the way, I tried also to update the UI where we have a create agent, right? If we go to the create form, right? If, for example, I want to have some new agent, and I will just select, see agent. I will select here workflow. It's actually allowing to select the sequential, parallel, and loop. So you can just choose one of those. And for each of them, you need to provide, if it's sequential, it's expecting you to have at least 2 of sub-agents. It doesn't make sense to have sequential with 1. So it's you can choose from existing, and I think this is just kind of currently the form validation is failing. It's stopped, but it's at least we have some kind of like the initial implementation. Okay. Yeah. And so there are several levels. Like there is a UI support, there is a probably database schema enhancements, like if we want to have a relation between the session and sub-session and things like that, and small updates, because without database relation, we would not be able to solve the UI. And I think we can try to isolate it perhaps in some kind of like a way that it can be like a feature flag or something that, if we enable it and, we see it only for specific role or user with some permissions, so it will be easy to turn it off. And I think if not everyone wants to have and play with the workflow agent, they can just use it as it is now. And I think having this until it's becoming more stable, we can just have a feature flag for that.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think there's kind of, in my mind, there's 2 different things here. Like there's like almost 2 levels, right? There's the first level, which is deciding on the API, right? And then getting it working enough in the chat that you can chat with these agents and it can do what you want, but it's not necessarily the ideal UX, right? So that's like step 1. And then step 2 is figuring out how we actually make it much more like how we really bring this to the next level, not just for workflows, but it's really the same problem with it's the same problem with our nested agents generally, right? How we display that workflow when an agent, if you call an agent as a tool, and then what if that, so there's so much here about how we display agents in the UI that it's a deeper conversation. So does that breakdown make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, yeah, this observability is very important, because if I go to the regular
No, of
agent
course.
and I just trigger the task, it's actually very difficult to say what happens, like what was under the hood. It's like there is currently no, I think the agent-to-agent protocol is designed in the way that actually it's hiding the implementation when it wants to hide, or if you need to call agents which are probably external agents, you don't supposed to see these events. But maybe in our case, we want actually to see the flow in our agents. We need to propagate those events. So we need to see if the protocol itself supporting this feature, or we need to do something like, let's say, if it's the same user ID, then it's propagated, and you have the parent session, and basically you can collect all the events, okay? Because as of now, if I give a task like check cluster, and I have this like general manager agent, which is calling a sub-agent as a tool, and then all other things here, it is quite clear. You see, it's delegating, it has input, it's calling the other stuff. But under the hood, it's a black box. Now you are lost, like you cannot go and see what happened. You cannot validate that your tools and traces were correct. And I think this is what we need before we make this feature like officially public. We need to connect the dots. We need to connect the traces and be able to see the whole flow from this UI.
Yeah.
Hey, Dimitri, this is very cool. I have a quick question. I'm just trying to think about how would people decide to use this with the existing key agent support, which we also support multi-agent, which I assume you could potentially put in your system prompt, how you want the multi-agent to act, whether it's sequential or whether it's in the loop. Would you say the advantage of this approach would be you can potentially dig a little bit deeper onto what are the tools being used for the sub-agent and potentially visualizes better? What do you think would be a differentiator for people using this approach with the existing agent supports we have in Kagent, which to my understanding also support multiple agents, but you have to kind of declare how you want multi-agents to interact through system messages.
Yeah, I think if you are a developer and you are developing something, and currently you have this option to go with bring your own, right? So if you take a Crew UI or you take ADK, you would need to go and build it with SDK by putting it in the code, by putting all the relationships in the Python code. But at the end, your code will be very simple. Most cases, you will have just a prompt, list of tools, and relation between these agents, right? So it doesn't really make sense to go and code it and then build the image and then deploy the image and go through all this process. If we can bring this the clarity way, it's much more simple. And I think it would be our goal perhaps to be able to we have bring your own agent as a quick remedy, so if someone needs it, he can use it immediately. But our long-term goal should be like build it via CRDs. So we can give you CRDs, we can give you the context, everything that you can build exactly the same thing. And if you have already like your program, which is Python program with several agents, you can structure it and map it into the sequential, parallel, and loop and get exactly the same results if you would follow the ADK developer guides, right? So from the agent and framework perspective, there are some other challenges. Like, for example, if I do the agent, which is I called like orchestrator, which is top level agent, which is like a SRE team manager, right? It's a question how this manager knows what are the peers, what are the nodes it has in order to build the translate it into the sub agents, right? I think there is a like solution gap or maybe framework gap. So in agent-to-agent protocol, you have usually the agent card, right, which is propagated, and one agent can know about the other one. But to me, currently, it's not clear how it works with the several sub-levels. If I can, if I have a workflow agent, I think this agent card is not propagated properly right now to the top level. And I think we are kind of losing a little bit the backward information about like what tools do I have. This is why I played with this request reply with your tools and names. And it actually shows that there is a limitation. So you cannot know what other agents can do for you. And if you don't have this information, then probably you cannot build a very efficient task on the planning stage. So I think in order to know it, your planning agent should probably be connected to other agents, but just as a metadata, just as an information, and then invoke them via this workflow. Or maybe we need to enhance workflow to propagate this agent cards or something. This is still like something we need to figure out.
Right. So I think the gist I'm trying to understand is it help improve the metadata and the efficiency of the agents. The intro between agency calls, so the agents knows the right tools to call come from which agents, which today Kagent seems a little bit lacking on that knowledge from the top agents.
I think
I do agree with something that you said, Dimitro, that A2A clients need to be better at using the card in like pre-fetching the card. You know what I mean? Like they need to be more dynamic in how they're, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also agree with everything else that you said. I think both are true.
And the whole thing here, like if we are building it, you're saying why it helps. Basically, each sub-agent will have its own kind of like a session under the hood with context. And this allows us to basically break down the complex task in the much more, isolated subtasks where each agent will be autonomous, working on the specific thing, and then it returns only the final result in the context. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very simple implementation right now using agent to agent as a remote agent. We are not doing anything special. The only magic is just the way it is distributing the task and then collecting them back. That's it. Okay.
And you said that this already supports bring your own agents, or is that part of the plan? So it works not only the Kagent native agent, but also bring your own agent.
It doesn't really matter. You can put any subagent. My point was that we would not require to write bring your own when this feature will be fully working. Like if let's say we have a previous example of Crew AI, and in future we might have a full support of workflow agents, we can do everything just by writing a declarative. And behind the scene, it will recreate for you the classes and structure that you could build with let's say Crew AI or ADK or any other.
Yeah. So one thing I want to emphasize, which I think it's important, because I noticed a couple of times when I try Kagent, it's a little bit unstable. So I think the feature you're adding, I see the value. I just want to make sure the idea you had on dark launch is great. I don't want us to destabilize the core of Kagent, which in my opinion is a little bit unstable already. So I think stabilize the agent core is important for us.
This would all be opt-in anyway. I mean, like we can dark launch it, but it's all opt-in. Like the user has to explicitly opt into using this behavior anyway. right? Whether it's
Understood, but I
yeah.
don't want to impact people who are not using this, doing simple things with Kagent,
No,
right? 'Cause
it
we're
won't,
trying
right?
to apply Kagent for incubation, so we want people
Yeah,
who are
definitely.
adopting
Yeah.
have the confidence in the project.
Yeah, first of all, when I was also working on this feature, I've added all the Python unit test for all existing code, which was not there. So I have a bunch of tests here with a good coverage and like 80% plus coverage. Only then I added this additional stuff because for
That's
me, this
awesome.
code was new. So I spent some time on adding first this one and then, doing the other. But yeah, we are still need to work a little bit more on this. I think if anyone wants to try and find the branch, we are not merging it yet. And I think it's just a preview, let's say. But yeah, the direction, I think it's we would like to have this like opt-in optionally and so on.
By the way, I like this API more than the original one. Just FYI.
Yeah. Me as well. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank
All
you so much,
right.
Dimitro. One thing, I've been talking to Sarah. Sarah, if you are available next week, we want to do a demo of, mainly Sarah will do the demo of what we plan to, the talk we plan to deliver at KubeCon. So we would love you all to join us too next week, next Tuesday, same time. Thanks.
Perfect.
Yeah,
All
I will
righty.
put it on the agenda. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, we're out of time. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about quickly or? No? All right. Well, it was awesome chatting. I'll see you all soon. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank you,
amazing
everybody.
demo today. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.